Welcome to Rico's Garage. Today on Rico's Garage, we're going to work on our 1977 Chevrolet Camaro Type LT. Now, at least 4 of you have asked where the Camaro's been, why we haven't been working on it. And with tens of listeners, when 4 people are upset, that's enough to cause a ruckus. So, figure better pull the Camaro in here and take a look at it and see what's going on, see where we're going to go next, and bring you along. Let the 4 of you know we still got her. We're still going to work on her. So maybe the 4 of you will tell a friend and we'll get 8 people interested in this car. Yeah, that'd be alright. So what are we going to do? Well, it occurred to me, I never really gave you guys a good walk around what exactly we've got here. I mean, I've told you the story about how I had a 77 Chevrolet Camaro Type LT back in high school. Man, that was a long time ago. I told you that story. I told you the story about how I literally bought it on my wife's birthday. Yeah, that probably wasn't a good move. But we got through it. I told you the story about how it was totally the wrong time to buy it, and I really didn't have the money. But sentimental value being what it is, and the fact that I vowed to once again own the 77 Chevrolet Camaro Type LT. Well, pulled the trigger on it on my wife's birthday using the old forgiveness versus permission tactic. I still have the wife, still have the Camaro, so say we came out all right. I've told you all that. What I haven't done was give you a good walk around what exactly we got for, I'll just be honest with you, the $1,500 we had to spend to buy this here Camaro Type LT. So, I showed you we got it running and driving, walk around it, show you what we bought. Then we'll get into what we're going to go and what direction we're going to go with this car, what we're going to do to it, what we're going to do today, what we're going to do in the future. Or maybe that'll appease the 4 of you that's interested in this car. The rest of you, if you're still watching, well, thank you. But I'm going to have to warn you and just be real with you for a minute. Let's just do that. Let's be real with Rico for a minute. If you tend to gravitate towards the fancy, shiny stuff, this project's not going to be for you. If you got to have the latest and the greatest and the fanciest and the nicest, yeah, probably not going to be your thing. But if you want to know how to have fun with what you've got, with the little bit of money you got, and how to get out and actually enjoy your vehicle, this is going to be for you. Because I'll just go ahead and lay it out for you right now before we get into the details. We're going to get this car to where I can drive it and enjoy it. Because I don't have the $30,000 or $40,000 that it's going to take to do a complete ground up restoration on this car. And this car is worth saving. It's got some rough spots that we'll get into here in a minute. But at the end of the day, it's a 2nd generation big bumper Camaro that here in the Midwest, for some reason, every freaking hilljack decided to turn these into a roundy round car. Somehow this one slid under the radar and that didn't happen. So, it's mine. It's here, and yes, I would totally love to just blow this thing apart, put a kick-ass slick paint job on it, LS swap it with a big old supercharger sticking through the hood, tub, 9-inch, the whole deal. My dream Camaro, I'd love that. I just can't afford it right now. But what I can afford to do is get this thing running, driving, making some noise, and just get out and enjoy it. Is it going to be the fastest Camaro out there? Hell no. Is it going to be the nicest looking Camaro? Not even close. But you know what it is going to be? It's going to be my Camaro. It's going to be my Camaro that I can go out, and if I want to slide it around the gravel roads, because I'm an idiot and that's what I do, then I'm going to do it. If I want to go out and do burnouts and cover the quarter panels in rubber, that's what I'm going to do. Then, when I grow up, not sure when that's going to happen, then maybe we can make a nice car out of it. But for now, I want a Camaro that I can go out and enjoy. That's what I'm going to make. But before we get into the details of how exactly we're going to do that, let's do a walk around and see what exactly we got in our $1,500 one owner 1977 Chevrolet Camaro Type LT. Like everything else in my life, we're going to do this ass backwards. So let's start with the ass end of this baby. Work our way to the front. Let you know what exactly we're dealing with here. Now here we are at the very back of our Camaro. We'll just start with 74 to 77. Second gens had the wraparound taillights. That was a new feature in 74. The first iteration of the second gen Camaro, the 70 to 73, had the round tail lights and then some kind of side marker light, the wraparound style. Done away with all that. Also on the back, the Type LT, which is luxury touring, as I may or may not have stated to you before. Got you the impact strip on the bumper. This aluminum trim panel was also exclusive to the Type LT, and you can see there's a dirty spot right there. There's actually a Type LT badge that goes there. I believe that's still in the center console. Also, the 74 to 77 with the aluminum bumper has the slot right there. If you're old like me, you know exactly what that's for. That is the tab and slot style bumper jack. The bumper jack that would go up and down and try to kill you when you were changing a tire had a little tab on it that would index into that bumper, and you could jack your car up and have it precariously dangle in there while you're trying to change the tire on the side of the road. I don't know where the bumper jack went to this car. It's long gone, and I don't really care because I'm not going to use the damn thing anyway. Also at the back of our Camaro, the Type LT had the rear spoiler, which was also an option that could be put on any trim level of Camaro. And I'll just go ahead and throw my opinion out here. These second gen Camaros look ridiculous without the spoiler on the back. It shouldn't even been an option. It should have been standard on all these cars, because if you follow the body line back, the rear window, and the deck lid, the way that spoiler swoops up, for lack of a better word, just finishes it off. Without that spoiler, it just, everything falls down, and it's just not very pleasing to the eye, in my opinion. Now this spoiler is in rough shape from where it was sitting outside dude's trouse. You can actually see it is down to the raw fiberglass fiber. That hopefully can be fixed, because the spoiler is not cheap. Going to have to find me a bodywork gnome. Maybe he can do a little, and then get that all looking good. I don't know. I'm not a body man. Surely there's got to be a product. You can just smooth over that. Good 5 minutes of sanding, some rattle can primer. Should look amazing. Keys are still in the trunk back here. Let's see. Yes. That opens. Check out the action on that baby. Need a little squeak reducing spray up there. Trunk pan is relatively solid. Always a good thing. Looky there. I had actually forgotten I had ordered those. Good. I'm glad to see those. I'll tell you more about that a little bit later. Spare tire hold down, because under that pout rack over there is the factory spare tire and the spare rally wheel. No idea where the jack is, don't even care, but we do have a spare. But this floor pan is solid. We'll get the shop back in here, clean that out. Hopefully the lighting is good enough for you guys to see. That's all good. Man, I'm glad those straps were there. I almost ordered those because I could not remember if I did or not. I'm glad I found those. See, because of me opening that trunk for you, my favorite viewer, I just saved myself some money, because I would have ordered another set of straps, because I'm old and I forget that I buy stuff and put it in there. So thank you for that. Coming back around, and the lighting in this shop is just not that great. You can see we have some weight reduction on our quarter panel. That's eventually going to have to be fixed, but again, I'm not a body man. We got some spots in here with some surface rust. We're not even going to worry about that right now. Eventually I will put quarter panels on this car, just not today. There is our Type LT badge in all its glory. Speed hole in the front of the quarter panel. Rocker panels, you probably can't tell because the lighting's not that great, but they're actually fairly solid. This door is starting to have some surface rust. I don't know if we can bring this door out or not. I don't even know why I'm even telling you this, because I'm not going to do it right now. The roof on this car is solid. It needs some help with the paint, because even after pressure wash, you can just hear and feel that grit. The glass is in good shape, except the windshield has a small imperfection in it, but it'll work for now. Our beauty rings and center caps are inside. I took those off when I put the Craigslist tires on it and didn't put them back on. We may or may not do that eventually anyway. Front fender. It's going to need 2 new front fenders. They are not in that great a shape. And let me reposition everything. We'll open up this 12-foot long hood, because, you know, it's a GM pony car. That's the way GM designed them. Long hood, short rear deck, and somewhere in the middle they had these 4-foot long doors that weigh 80,000 pounds apiece. Before we get to what's under the hood, let's look at the front end. You can see our grill is there, but she's got a couple chipped teeth. Our aluminum trim rings around our headlights aren't bad. That one's got a little dink in it. Oh well. Front bumper is in real good shape. The most disheartening part, that right there is all that's left of our front lower valance. It is gone. And to get a repop of these things right now with all the COVID stuff is about impossible, and there is a huge waiting list for these things. So when they do come available, they're just not out there. GM discontinued it a long time ago. Back when I had my Camaro in high school, that was one of the things that got destroyed when it was wrecked. Back then you could just go to the dealership and buy a new one. That's not an option now. These things have lost their lives over the years to parking curbs. Some of the old school sling tow trucks, if the tow truck driver did not give a shit with what he was doing, would simply back up, put the slings on the bumper, run the chains from the control arms back there up to here, and then that right there would happen. So yeah, that's disheartening, because that's going to be expensive and hard to find. No sense crying over spilled milk. Raise up the hood, which now raises easily because I gave her a little WD-40 on the hood hinges. One thing about it, if you find one of these cars in a field and decide to work on it, I'll give you a little tech tip. You don't just want to come up to this car and grab and He-Man the hood up, because just like the old square body Chevys, it has these hood hinges that have this humongous spring right there. They come out and they stop right there, and then you have all this hood. Well, if that is frozen up and you go cranking on this thing, you're going to crease this hood right here, and then it's junk. Sorry, I'm trying to do this one-handed. You want to actually grab, come up just a little bit, and then wiggle it side to side, and just like come over here, up a little bit, go to the other side, up a little bit, work your way till you get the hood up. Look at what you need to look at, and then when it's time to close the hood, do the same thing. Down over here, down over here. In fact, even come back to right here and put pressure above this hinge and push down on that hinge. That will keep you from folding up this hood. Then when you get back, squirt some lube on those hinges and on the springs. Then you can open your Camaro hood with one hand. Sorry about that, we kind of got sidetracked. Here is our information plate telling you that this particular Camaro Type LT has the very disappointing 305 cubic inch 2-barrel V8 engine. I don't remember exactly because I don't want to harp on it, but the horsepower numbers for this engine are just like, I want to say it's like 142. Now don't quote me on that, but I know it was low. Very disappointingly low. That the fact that an 8-cylinder engine couldn't make any more horsepower than that. The fact that a Polaris with 2 cylinders nowadays makes more horsepower than this V8 is unacceptable. But it is what it is. But despite its low horsepower numbers, guys, it's complete. It's totally unmolested. The air cleaner's still there. The snorkel that nobody leaves back on is still there. The wing nut, I don't know. I left it somewhere because I just really wasn't concerned about it. This car is an air conditioning car, another plus. And it's all there. Somebody's taken the belt off because the compressor's locked up. But regardless, it's all there. The disappointing part is it's an old R12 system. R12 is impossible to find right now. You can convert it to 134, but it doesn't have nowhere near the efficiency. And I know it's going to need something. You know, condenser, evaporator, that stuff is hard to find. and you're going to spend all the money. It's just going to be an inadequate system. So for now, we'll forego all that stuff. I will keep it in case somebody needs it. Somebody might want to keep theirs all original and want the hoses for a pattern, or need the brackets for the compressor for the core, something. One of these days I will put air back in this car, but I'll go with the aftermarket vintage air unit because it gives us a lot nicer firewall, a more efficient system that's designed to run off 134. But that's putting the cart before the chickens before they hatch. But we got this engine running. Put a used starter motor off of what I had in stock. We had the carburetor rebuilt and fired it up. The gas tank, like I told you, was full of varnish and everything. So we rigged up this piece of hose, threw it out there on the bumper, put a gas can, and ran it and drove it off of the gas can. And it ran and drove okay. We fired it up, got it over here in the other shop, and when we did, in doing so, we found out that the front pump bushing had seized onto the torque converter, ripped the front pump bushing, ripped the front pump seal out, and we left a blood trail from one garage to this shop. Also, we discovered that the Misas have got into the wiring, so we hooked up our little beep boop switch. We could give her a little clickety clack action and fire it up. I knew to fire it up, run over, run the throttle, blah blah blah, make her go vroom vroom, and it worked fine. We're going to fix that to where we can start it with the key. The fuel system, I actually ordered a new fuel tank. It's back there underneath the bench. I ordered the fuel tank, and as you've seen by the trunk, I ordered the straps. Forgot that I ordered them. But the sending unit was nowhere to be found. This frickin' COVID crap just killed everything, and nobody had a sending unit. They were all back ordered. So that tells me they all come out of the same plant. It is what it is. But long story short, I couldn't come up with a sending unit, and that pretty much put the brakes on this project. Had other stuff going on. I had my YJ that I needed to work on, and another buddy's TJ. So we switched into four-wheel drive mode, and this car just sat. Since we couldn't put the fuel tank in it, there was no sense to go any farther. But now, we'll get that fuel tank switched out, because now we are actually able to order the sending unit. We'll get that ordered, we'll get that tank replaced, and this engine, while it was running, you can't really see because the lighting's not that great, I apologize for that. This thing leaks everywhere. I mean, it doesn't run bad for a 305, it really doesn't. But the valve covers are just gushing oil onto the manifolds. I've almost caught this thing on fire twice. It leaks that bad. But that's a 305. I got no interest in rebuilding or using that 305 at all. So I'm not going to pull that engine out and re-gasket it just for something I'm going to throw away anyway. I don't have the money for an LS swap. I would love to LS swap it. I'd love to put a big block in it. A big block or an LS swap. But what I do have tucked away under the skid rack is this 350 cubic inch Chevrolet small block that's been bored 60 over, making it a 358. Now, I'm not real good with the mathematicals, but I can tell you the 358 is bigger than the 305. It's going to make more horse pressure. That's what we're going to use. There's whole another story behind this engine that I'm not going to tell you now. I'll tell you in another video. But I will tell you right now, I'll order a gasket kit, get this thing, get some new gaskets in it so it's not leaking. We're going to rebuild it with a couple cans of spray paint and a pressure washer. And then we'll plop it in this engine bay. We'll remove this engine get some oven cleaner, fully restore it with some oven cleaner, some spray degreaser, and a fresh coat of clack, 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 Walmart spray paint. That baby will be good. Also, like I mentioned to you, the Misas have not only got into the engine wiring, none of the lights work, so we're going to have to repair that as well. Some of the stuff inside doesn't work because there's another mouse chewed wire. So when the engine's out and we're fully restoring this engine compartment with the best paint and spray degreaser that Walmart has, we'll fix the wiring.